Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, Russ and My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If your channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made of any time we put new content on. As always, I'd like to thank our lovely channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. We've got another ex-hammer, over 70 we've had on the channel since we started just about a year ago, which is mental. And it's a guy I've wanted to go on for a long time. I wanted to get Jerry on. He's one that keeps cropping up, particularly when you interview all the ex-players. It's all about Jerry. So it's all about Jerry, Mr. Jerry O'Brien. How are you doing, big man?
Yeah, really good. Thanks very much for that.
There we go. Nice, good man. How are you? How's things with you, man? How's things with the family and stuff like that?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, I'm moved back home to Dublin a couple of years after I left West Ham. So moved back home, the wife and the kids and that, and I still play football over here for the Shamrock Rovers. So
I know, top of the league.
Yeah,
league. Undefeated.
Good. Yeah, we're going well. Yeah, this year it's been good the last couple of years. To be honest, we won the league last year and won the cup the year before that. So it's been really enjoyable.
Oh, at least you've managed to win something in your career rather than playing for West Ham. Obviously, we won promotion one year, so that was all right. Yeah, the championship.
Yeah, you said
it. And obviously with Bolton as well. Bolton going up was great for them, innit? That was really cool for them. So
yeah, no, it was great. I was watching the match myself here on the weekend, you know. So it was it's great to see them back, especially after like how it's been the last few years for them. You know, it's been a painful existence, like, you know. So hopefully a few good times come back there now.
Yeah, and we're not doing too shabby either this season as well. The Irons are doing all right.
Yeah, it's been great watch, really entertaining, you know, and yeah, it's been a great. I still obviously watch every game that's on, you know, West Ham games. Obviously, I still know a lot of lads and that, but I suppose once you've been there for this few years that we was there, you always have an affinity to the club, you know. And look at, I suppose the Champions League might seem a little bit lost, but it's been great. Well, it's been great while it's watching, like, you know.
Yeah, definitely, and you're right. And we interviewed lots of ex-players, and I think we had the other day. I think it was Scott Minto. And I asked him, you know, does he still follow West Ham? And he was like, "Of course I do, West Ham and Chelsea." And I was like, because like as you said, you and Bolton and West Ham, and it's like you still keep in touch with of a lot of players you still play. A lot of them are still there. A lot of them are,
definitely. Yeah. As you said, like, I would have been looking at the Bolton result. Even the weekend there, I went on loan a couple of times to Sheffield Wednesday, you know, when I was a lot younger. Yeah, so
awful,
you're watching there, like, because you have great memories and great times. You met great people there, you know, even some of the staff, especially like backroom staff, you know what I mean? In offices and stuff like that they're there for their lives, like, sort of thing, you know. So you have that sort of connection with them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, particularly West Ham, obviously, a lot of the backroom staff are still there, and the ticket in the year, you're right, the tea ladies and things like that. And now I can see you have an affinity with them. No, totally, man. So, you know, for many people, they know Joey. I mean, I usually give a little introduction. Joey made 105, appearances for the club. A few years you were there as well, to be honest, my man. And a few sort of cool bits. You know, obviously, you played in the last ever FA Cup game at the Bowling as well, which was, like a thing to put on your CV.
I should have scored in that game as well.
Should have. Oh, that was a crazy game. That whole season was crazy, man. But starting at the beginning, 2011, you'd just been released by Bolton. Obviously, we'd gone down. Big Sam had taken over in July. You got the call. Did you get the call from Sam to come on trial for a couple of weeks, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so I would obviously play with Sam at Bolton when I started out as a kid. Like, he gave me the chance as a first name. Obviously, he went off then and managed other clubs, and I was still at Bolton. And then, but for that 2.5 years previously, I didn't kick a ball really, So we went from October 2008 to February 2011. I never played a game. I missed that period of time. I had 3 knee surgeries, and I couldn't really get back. And just mentioned there, Sheffield Wednesday, I was actually got back around that time, and then I went out to Sheffield Wednesday for a month and played a couple of games, came back. It was just really to try to get out and, to be honest, earn a new contract at Bolton, really. But anyway, I went there and met Owen Coyle. He was the manager at the time at Bolton. I was just like, listen, I've been here 18 months and you've been injured for 15 months of that. I can't offer you that. And that was it. Like, it was an emotional time, I suppose, for me. I'd been there since I was 15.
Of course, yeah.
So obviously being told, Like, and I mean, I grew up there, you know what I mean? I moved away from Dublin, moved away from my family to be at the club. So the club meant a lot to me. And then obviously being told it's over, like, you know, and it was just seeing what was happening. I knew I was fit. That was the only good thing. I knew my knee trouble was behind me at that stage. And then it's just sort of looking for me, like people say, Jays, you were unlucky with injuries, and which I was, like, but I mean, that moment was a lucky moment for me, you know, like looking back, I got released from Bolton, and Sam got the West Ham, as you said, had just been relegated, which obviously was a huge club, but a huge club going into the Championship. Sacked the manager. Sam got the job. I knew Sam from previous times, and it was just, listen, come down and train and see how you go. And that was it. And everything fell into place really for me, you know. And that was my bit of luck.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, was there? I suppose, you know, when the call came, he wasn't really too fussed the fact that, you know, we'd just been, you know, we sort of were just been relegated and stuff like that. As you said, someone phoned you, they want you, and you're like, right, that's it. You know, Bolton have sort of, you know, not really, that last 18 months you said have been sort of a bit sort of not really getting much game time. That's it. You know, West Ham want me, and obviously you went to I think it's Switzerland, wasn't it? It was at Switzerland, like pre-season. You played a couple of games there, signed a contract, and then that was it. That was the start, wasn't it? It was almost like straight in the first team. You know, first game. That was it. You're off, man.
You're off. Like I obviously had the whole of pre-season. I hadn't got a contract, you know, so I only signed the contract up until about 5 days before the start of the Championship game, the first game against Cardiff, you know. So I was just training with the lads and playing all the games. And look, Sam obviously knew me and had a relationship. He wanted to make sure that I wasn't still goosed, you know. He wanted to like test me knee and make sure I was able to play these pre-season friendlies and stuff like that, and I was able to deal with it, you know. So before he gave me anything, and obviously through that 6 weeks of pre-season, I sort of proved that I was fit enough to get a look in, and then obviously to start the first game of the season. That's what I wanted, you know, and that was the aim.
Yeah, we lost that game, but don't worry.
Yeah,
the great first day. Typical West Ham. We always seem to do that when we, you know. But I mean, yeah, as you said, you know, you get in the game, you're getting game time. You're starting as well. You know, I think you started the first dozen games, which was great for your confidence as well. Having been like for Bolton, where it was sort of in and out, and not really getting the team and injuries and stuff. Scored a couple of games in as well, wasn't it? It was Watford, I think you scored as we trounced like 4-0 or something like that game. And it sort of was just worked, didn't it? It was like, I think, and obviously we got promoted. Now, obviously, you know, you weren't around, you know, that promotion time. Was that, I mean, obviously it was yourself. You had, obviously, Kevin dropped down as division. Obviously, you knew him from your Bolton days. There was a little bit of a Bolton contingency at West Ham, weren't there, really, to be honest? There's a lot of old Bolton boys turning up when Big Sam came in, which was a bit of a...
Yeah, there was, yeah. But it was, like, Matty Taylor came in and stuff like that. But funny, like, Matty, I played with Matty at Bolton, but he actually wasn't one of Sam's players. He never played under Sam at Bolton. It was just, I suppose, there's just luck like that, if you get me. Like, but yeah, obviously I would have known Kev a long time, like, you know, and we like came through the academy at Bolton. He was obviously in the first team and stuff like that. So we obviously had that connect with Kev. But great lads in the dressing room, you know, that year in the Championship, we had a great dressing room with the lads that were already at the football club, you know, and so that all just came together really well, you know, and looking back, we probably should have won it. Like, you know, we should have won the league. Like,
probably. Yeah.
Had, you know?
Yeah, to be fair, you probably did. Yeah, but I think, we had Colton on a couple last week, and he was that, you know, when it came up to like the crunch, when it came up to that playoff, they knew they had to win it. You know, they didn't care. You know, it was great that we had Blackpool and we turned them over a few times that season, but you know, we had to get up, we had to win, and you know, as I said, you're probably right. It was a real good sort of. The mix of the dressing room, you had like a lot of obviously guys in the Premier League who was, you know, people like Rob Green and stuff like that who'd come down to this, you know, he'd basically come with the team who'd been relegated. Plus, you said guys like yourselves, new guys coming in, you know, Kev, you know, I mean, it seemed that Kev sort of galvanised the team and was the captain we needed to get us back up. And then obviously we got promoted, and you know, started playing a lot of promotion in the Premier League, which is brilliant. So I scored your first ever Premier League goal as well. You know, not many people can say that in the world, that you've scored in the Premier League, man. But again, unfortunately, it was injuries, wasn't it? Injuries sort of came in. It seemed you just got to run and you get injured. And, you know, that 100 games could have been double that, I reckon, easily across those 5 years, man.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I actually, well, like my knee injuries and all that, I stayed away from pretty much injuries. I got a little bit of a nasty injury towards the back end of the championship, but like
Yeah.
apart from that, really, when I look back on it, and then I dislocated my shoulder playing the game against Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
And I had to have surgery on that. That was the longest time I missed. You know, that last year that last year, obviously, that I was at the football club. Obviously, Slaven Bilic wasn't having me as a player, like, you know. So I was fit for a lot of that time, but obviously I was just not like, he just didn't want me in the squad and didn't want me playing. So it was just, that's the joys of football, you know. And when I look back on it, it was just how it ended for me. Was the only thing, really, and it was just down to one manager's choice of not letting me go in January when I had an opportunity to go, and I was just, look, I still think it was a crazy decision why he didn't let me go, but that's football, you know. And he kept me around the place and never played me or never gave me a chance, really. So
is that frustrating when that happens, Joey? Because, like, you know, because you said if you're fit, you want to play and you want to be in the first team, and you're not in the first team. Does that, like, fucking hell, come on, you know, I want to just play football.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I just mean at that time, like, I'd gone from the start of the season, I think, and I hadn't played a game, and I was nowhere near it. And then we ended up playing the FA Cup game up in Anfield against Liverpool, and it was near the end of the transfer window. And again, it was just circumstances. I shouldn't have been near the squad. He didn't want me near the squad, but loads of injuries, and ended up being on the bench. And then Tonks ended up coming off with stitches 5-10 minutes into the game. There was no one else to play, really, and I ended up getting on. And I was just worked out good for me, and I done all right in the game. And then I had an opportunity to leave the football club, and the owners and the chairman, obviously, they were happy enough for me to go, but the manager wouldn't let me go, you know. And he kept me around the place, and obviously then he never played.
Yeah. And it must particularly, you know, we've interviewed loads of players, and they, you know, obviously, you know, Big Sam brought you in, and you're a Big Sam man, so to speak, in terms of, you know, from your Bolton days and whatnot. And then obviously when Slav comes in, you must have thought, hang on, I'm gonna have to try and start all over again, innit?
To be fair, I look forward to it. I remember meeting him on pre-season in the early European qualifying games, or the Europa League qualifying games and stuff like that. So
they were funny.
Look, I thought he was a nice fella and all that, and I was looking forward to trying to get into his team and whatever. But look, that's football, you know. People have an opinion of it as a player, and then look, that's okay, like, you know. And but just for me, like, as I said, I had the opportunity to go in January, and he didn't let me go. And then look how it ended. Then obviously I'd never played a game, and I got injured then after I left West Ham, and I was out of the game then, and I couldn't get another club over there.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? I mean, and you're right. I mean, those were fun. I remember those European games. They were a bit some strange teams, weren't they?
They were strange, but I tell you, I'll never forget that first one against that Andorran team in the stadium. It was incredible. You know, to be playing against a team that was, listen to what, not a good team at all, but the crowd that turned out that night, like, was it was incredible. Yeah,
well, FC L'Occitane. But that was great, because I remember I had to do the announcing for the one with when you played FC Birkirkara, and no one knew any of the players' names. So I'm like, what's and I remember going to Paul String at the time and various others going, how do you pronounce this? I don't know. I said, am I pronouncing the team right? I don't know, Russ. I don't know. So I remember just like sitting there, like, and I had who was on the bench? Who was on the bench? So we had Sacco and Czech. They were both sitting next to me, and they're like laughing because I'm like in goal, but you know, no idea. It's just so weird. But hopefully we can get that back. I loved it. I love the fact that we played these random teams, and hopefully we'll do it again this next season as well.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, as long as I don't play bloody Astra Gugu, whoever it was, you know, that's a Romanian team. They're the ones who always used to do us in. They did us in twice, didn't they? And obviously, you know, as you said, your time there, you played with some great players, some really strong dressing rooms. What was it? I mean, was it good? I mean, I think it's the same question. Everyone says the same answer, really, to be honest. I'm trying to think something a bit more different. But, you know, we had like Colton on and various others at that time. They were like, oh, it's just, you know, the banter was great. The kid, you know, it was a real good mix of people. We had the kids in there as well, and the dressing room was fun. And I can imagine that's you know, you just sit right in the middle of all that, to be honest, Joey. Were you like one of the ones who were always pranking people, or were you the one person who always got pranked? Were you sort of the instigator?
To be honest, I think for the first part, when I went into the dressing room, lads didn't know how to take me, you know, because I went in and had such a focus to just get a contract at the club that I wasn't talking to anyone or looking at anyone or that. You know, I think lads were like, "Who the fuck is this fella?" You know, but I just wanted to get signed for that football club and play games. You know, so then after that, yeah, you just fall in with lads. You know, and that it was a great dressing room at that time, and I think them first couple of years in the Premier League, like they were great times, like, you know, because the lads that the manager even brought in then, even when we went up and stuff, like, you know, the players that came into the dressing room, they were all great lads, like, so we had a great dressing room, and then with that, obviously, some great days on the pitch, like, but then obviously after the club and out on when you go out on nights out and stuff like that, you know, with the lads and all that, it's just great.
Well, that's what I think. I mean, that's half of the battle, isn't it? As well, particularly, you know, you're playing you're in Bolton, you know, so come back down living in London as well, isn't it? So it's like a bit different as well, and you know, there's, you know, not bad places to go out around there, is it?
Oh,
you
said it. Like,
right.
I actually remember when I was playing for Bolton, I used to come down to play the games and stuff like that. I used to be seeing London, thinking, "Jeez, this place is too busy." Like, and I'm actually from Dublin, like, but it was just like,
yeah,
this is unbelievable. Once you're in it, it's a tough place to live.
Whereabouts did you live when you was down at West Ham? Would you Epping or without?
No, I was in around Canary Wharf.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was in there at that time. I had no kids, nothing. So it was just me and my girlfriend. Sometimes my girlfriend wasn't there, so it was great.
So it was great. It was great when she wasn't there. Oh, no, it's funny because it's like it's just a culture shock, as you said, particularly come from Dublin. You know, that London can be a big place, particularly some of the younger lads who come in as well, man. But no, it's all good. Right, let's talk about your Hammers 11, Joey. So basically, as I said, you made over 100 first team appearances for the club, 105. Play some great players. So what we try and do is get everyone who's come on the channel, apart from there's 3 people who haven't done it in 350. You know, we've got Harry Redknapp didn't do one. Ian Bishop and Nigel Reo-Coker didn't, but everyone else has. Colton tried to weasel his way out of it, but it's just because he doesn't want to offend anyone. You know, Colton, he's a nice boy. So the idea is we pick it, and the idea is you pick the players who you've played with. And it's not saying it's the best. It's not saying whatever. It could be just, you know, the ones you got most banter with, or whatever. It's up to you, man. You can say honourable mentions so you don't piss anyone off, but no one gets pissed off. It's all good fun. You can even play yourself, Joey, to get the appearances back up. You know. So,
I won't.
So who's going to go in goal for the O'Brien 11?
Oh yeah, well this was a tough one actually because at that time I played with some, like, obviously Greeny was there, then Adrian and Yusi. So they were the 3 main goalkeepers when I was my time, like, you know. But it was obviously then sort of got down to Greeny and Yusi, but just gonna go with Yusi, like, you know, just because I just think even I played with him a lot of my career, obviously at Bolton and stuff like that. But for him then, obviously, to come at the club at the time of the club, he was coming off the back of at Bolton. He hadn't played for that season really at Bolton. He came in. And still the same at that age, like, you know, performed to the level he did, like, was just, top draw. So he'll be the number 1.
Yeah. He always looked untidy, didn't he? He always had his shirt was always untucked, wasn't it? His top. Yeah. And he was like real good, sort of really long arms. But yeah, he was a great. And I think, do you know, you said, I mean, you mentioned 3 really good goalkeepers. Goalkeepers a position we've always done quite well with West Ham, I think. And also, particularly then, you know, Yushi came and did a great job for us. And there was no denying, you know, he was such a good. I just found, he was just solid, and he was exactly what we needed. That sort of solid goalkeeper. And he said, even if it was towards the end of his career, he was still a great shot stopper. And he always used to turn up when we'd play Bolton. When he'd come to West Ham, you know, as a Bolton player, he'd always like have an absolute worldie against us. So it's almost like, you know, rather be in the tent pissing in than in the outside pissing in, the other way around. So we'll put UC in. Right, okay. We'll go 4 at the back because it's the only graphic I've got. So let's go left back. Who'll be left back then, Joey?
Left back is down between Cressy and George McCartney. Yeah. So I'm so that's the 2 that really stand out for me. The time to play was, and obviously just go with Cress, just shades, I think, really. So very top draw player. You know, at the time I remember playing against my Ipswich, was really, really good and came into the team really, and obviously he made the position his own for the last I don't know how many years he's there now. But like, and then great lad, like, you know, it's a great lad. So so
and he's left. You're right. I mean, to be fair, he's had a bit of, you know, until probably the last 18 months, he's had a bit of a criticism from people, you know, in terms of, you know, coming to it. But, you know, Moyes has reinvigorated him, and he's like, you know, we really miss him on the team sheet now, and he plays obviously the sort of the back three now, sort of the left side. But even when we've gone to a back four, he's looked like a bit like the old Aaron Cresswell. You know, he seems to have rejuvenated his career, and so no, I think he's great. I love Chris. And he's been a while. He's been here a while as well, hasn't he? We'll put Aaron in left. Who's going to go right back then, Joey?
Yeah, difficult one, but I'm just obviously at centre halves. Obviously, there's a few standout centre backs, so I'm just going to play Tonks right back.
Yeah,
just again, he played a lot of football with him actually. When I played right foot, and he would have been playing right side centre back. But yeah, just I always thought he was a top class player, like, you know. And even when he was at the team, I always felt that he could go and play like in a top 4 club, like, you know. That's how I taught him as a young lad, like, and that, and coming through, like, you know. Yeah, super player, like.
Yeah, definitely. Nice boy as well. And I think also, you know, I mean, obviously you play fullback as well. And like, you know, there's something special, I think, with fans and the fullbacks, because obviously you're the closest to them all the time.
Yeah. You can hear. So you're the one that gets the abuse.
Yeah. But also you're the ones who get the accolades as well. You know, he's like, go on, Joey, you can do it. Pick that chicken run. Yeah. There's enough said about them. Right, okay, so we put Tom's. All right, who's your first centre half then? You've played with quite a few good ones.
Yeah, there is like some really good ones. Abdullah Foy, obviously, was one that obviously played in the championship again. Another player we played at Bolton at the time, like a really, really good player, like, you know. And I was left Bolton at the time, went to Stoke, I think, for a few years, Newcastle, then came down to West Ham. Really, really good, like, you know. But yeah, I just had to go with these two, like, and so 4 centre back is Ginge.
Yeah.
Again, you know, obviously a player that was signed after we got promoted, and yeah, it was brilliant signing by the manager, obviously, and a great person, like, you know, not a great lad, like, came into the dressing room, great character in the dressing room, in with all the lads, and yeah, sort of every time he played, I don't think I can remember many bad games that he ever had, really, you know. And he's centre back.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we'll put Gin. Yeah, I totally agree, man. Totally agree with everything you said. He's and obviously he went away, went to Villa, came back, and became I think even more of a West Ham sort of legend icon. You know, he just seemed a lot of, you know, with Richard Dunn, working with Richard Dunn, he came back more. You know what I mean? Less sort of, obviously the hair had gone, a bit like you and me. The hair had gone a bit, but he was like proper, like with the big beard and stuff. He became even more like a West Ham type player. But no, good old GP. Right, okay. Who's he going to partner them?
Yeah, Winston Reid.
Yeah, really.
So again, another super player that came. Obviously that championship getting relegated, I think, really benefited Winston. You know, I think at the time that year he got relegated, he wasn't really having much of a game time that season. But then obviously Sam coming in, Sam had really rated him, like, you know, and I think gave him a lot of confidence in his game, like, and he excelled, like, you know, obviously that season, and then on into the Premier League, like, you know. And I think for a couple of years he was like standout performer for the football club, you know.
Totally agree. And you're right. He struggled when he signed, when he was in that Premier League, when we went down. But the whole team struggled that season, so it was like, you know, it's our worst Premier League season ever. So, you know, it wasn't really, you know, same as everyone else. But that championship, you know, season made him, definitely. And then he became, you know, a great player, and, you know, Liverpool and Arsenal all after him, and, you know, if you're meant to be believed. And it's great that he's doing stuff now. You know, it's great that he's Brentford now and playing some games, because he deserves
of course,
it,
great. He's back, like, you know. Obviously he's had a nightmare with injuries, like, and that, so it's great to see him back playing. And as I said, for them few years he was lead centre back in the Premier League, you know. So I mean, not many players can say that.
No, I totally agree. Right, let's go into midfield then, Joey. Let's go left wing on the left side.
Yeah, well, I don't know about this 4-4-2. This is going to get a bit imbalanced. So
well, go on. Just doesn't matter. It's your team.
We're going to have to start throwing some out. So we go on the left to be Stewie Downing, I think.
Oh,
no, sorry, we go Stewie Downing on the left.
Stuart Downing. That's one we haven't heard for a while. Oh, that's a great shout. Stuart Downing. I've got to type that one in, Joey. That's what you know. It hasn't been that often when Stuart he's in.
Yeah. So again, like, you know, I always think of players from a player's point of view. When you hear a club linked with a certain player, and you think, and you hear it in the news, and you think it's getting closer and all that. And I think when you see that, and you see players in the dressing room get a buzz off that, you know, and to think, what, these people, if we get him, you know. That's how I felt with Stewie. And I wanted
Really?
when we were linked with him, to get him. And obviously, yeah, I thought he came in super player. Like, you know, seeing him from afar and I'm playing against him over the years to then walk with him. You know, quality player. Like, you know,
And
and had an unbelievable career.
And you mentioned, like, you know, when how much attention do you lot do footballers pay to things like rumours and stuff like that in the papers? Because you must think a lot of it's bollocks. Because, you know, but do you get, you know?
Yeah, it does be, I suppose. But like, you listen, all footballers are football fans. You get me? So
yeah,
like,
good point.
You spend so much time reading newspapers and watching Sky Sports News and looking at stuff on the internet. And that's just the way it is. Like, you know, because you want to see or hear what's going on in other teams or whatever. Like, you know, so some of it does be not true, obviously, but when it does be, it's out there as well, you know. And I remember that time when he came in. I think his first game was maybe he came on as a sub, I think, against Cardiff or something like that. It was one of maybe, I don't know, it was the first game of the season or something like that. But he's done about 20 minutes like in the game. I was just like, wow, you know, this fella is a serious player. Like, so as I said, and had an unbelievable career, like, you know. So
he did, and I remember, and he sort of like was, you know, I think then Sam famously put him. We went to the Diamond, didn't we? The famous Diamond, and he was at the top of and he got back into the England squad, didn't he? I think playing in that Diamond position.
Yeah, he was super. Yeah.
Amazing player. He really was. Right, okay, we'll put Downs on the right, on the left then. Let's go on the right side then. Who should have on the right side?
On the right side, we're going with I think now, Joey Cole. You told me how with this formation show. I had a different formation, but anyway. But
you put whatever you want. You put whatever you want in. Just bracket.
We get them in anyway. So Joey Cole. Yeah. So again, like another super player, you know, like and so I think when he came, like just to play with him and that, and see how he walked and see how he looked after himself and trained and talked about the game, and quality player, like, you know what I mean. And I think it was great to come back. You obviously wanted to come back to West Ham at that time, like, you know, and to come back and play, and it was great to play with.
Yeah, and you're right, man. Yeah, and he almost like he had unfinished business with West Ham, and he, you know, so that's why he wanted to come back, and it was great. You know, the fans loved it as well, didn't they? He was like the hometown boy come home. You know what I mean? So and it's great, and I love I love him as a commentator and analyst rather on BT Sport and stuff. He's so like just switched on, you know. It's just some people just get it, and he's so like on the money when he talks about football and stuff. And but you know he would be, because as you said, he's got football brain and stuff. And you could train with him, and you know, we've had loads of people, particularly when he first joined, when he first broke into the first team, and how he would make some senior pros just look stupid because he'd be doing like Rabonas, and he's like 16, 17 doing these tricks in front of them, but he didn't do it to.
Just had an unbelievable love of the game, like, you know, like even when he came back, like I remember like seeing him train, and even the levels he was training at, and the distances he covered, and the high intensity and the workload that he got through. It was just that pure love of football, like, you know. And again, like, to see the great career, like an unbelievable career that he had, like, you know, it was great to play with.
Definitely. Right. Okay, we'll put Joe in. Let's go into sort of the centre positions then.
Yeah, we get into the midfield, like, so Nobes. Now there's a few here that, like, obviously Jack Collison was an option here. Gary O'Neill, they were players that I really enjoyed playing with as well. But Nobes, like, look, again, just like an elite performer over the club, I suppose. Like, and I suppose the word legend's going to get thrown around, like, about players, but he's going to go down as a West Ham legend. Like, you know, you've been in a career for that, as long as that, and played that many games. And as I said, he was just one of them players. You won't realise how important he is to the football club or to the team until he's gone, like, you know. And it's really, I guess true. That'll say all, really, like, you know.
Yeah, it's really true. He was on Peter Crouch's podcast. It was on today, out today, and and Peter Crouch was like saying this is like he was a bit jealous of Mark Noble only being a one-man club, because he obviously moved everywhere, didn't he? Crouch, he was like, you know, it was great to, you know, you're one man and it's your club and you're a boyhood club and it's and I imagine he was like that, you know, when it was like when you guys were playing Tottenham and people like that, because that's his game, you know. And it was like imagine him now, you know, in the dressing room when he were playing Chelsea and playing these big clubs that West Ham fans always got a bit of needle about. He's the one who's saying, right, this is it. This is what the fans want. They want this game. This is all about it, you know. And no, I think it's great. And you're right. I think he's one of those people who, when he leaves, we'll be like, oh, it's going to be emotional. Next
Oh, of
season's going to be
course.
very
Look,
emotional.
Ben's played at such a high level for so long.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I mean, like, I think yes, you're talking about playing for the one team for your career and all that, but it's the level that you play at. Like, you know, and that's like, I mean, he's played in the Premier League at a club in the Premier League for so many years that it's like to play to have the ability yourself and then to stay at that level is unreal, really. And obviously, then through the amount of managers that has been through the years that he's been
That's
there.
what he said. That's
even
what he said.
after
Yeah.
that, you know, like it's like you have not obviously. I know him personally, so I know he proved himself. He wants to prove himself every day in training and every match he plays. But to know after every manager, like you got to keep proving yourself, to this one, and he did, and they all play him, like, you know, and yeah, as I said, like
true. Really
a legend.
Really true. He is, yeah. We're doing a series at the moment. We've gone through. Actually, you'll be on the next one because we're going through alphabetically everyone he's played with, and so so it's like 200 and something players he's played with. In this
really,
yeah. So you're obviously we're doing O next, and so you'll be in it. You'll be in it. So double appearance for Jerry O'Brien this next couple of weeks. But anyway, we'll put Mark in. Who's he going to partner?
Well, it's just going to be a little. Nobby's going to play there, yeah. So Kev Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just again, like a serious player, like, you know what I mean? The hardest thing in football to do is score a goal, like, you know, and for the career that Kev had to score goals and playing in the midfield position, had that knack, like, you know, of getting Premier League goals over 10 Premier League goals for a midfielder, like, you know, was like really good going. And Kev, I suppose, has done it at different clubs, like, but to consistently keep on doing that and scoring goals from midfield is really, really impressive, like, you know. And then obviously coming into the club at that time in the Championship as the club captain, take on board, like, and to lead the club back into the Premiership straight away, like, and then obviously to be the mainstay over the next few years, you know, it's top player, like, you know.
And what's he like? Because everyone says he's a great captain, but what does he do that made him a good captain?
Yeah, he's great guy, like, you know. But Kev, like, doesn't matter who you are, you know, whether you've played won Champions League or whether you're a 16-year-old kid coming into the dressing room for the first time, like, there's no difference, like, you know. And then everyone in between that. That's all. I just think he's just a real, like, just a top fella, like, you know. It's not really about football, you know. It's about just getting to know you and being a really nice guy and speaking to you and asking you questions. And the same even with the foreign lads. And I think that's why he's been a great captain, like, you know. He's able to connect with everyone in the dressing room. It's not just the English-based lads or senior lads or anything like that. He goes out of his way to connect with, making sure that, like, say, the lads that are just come into the country, their families are all right, are involved in their families on nights out, and their partners are involved and stuff. And, you know, it's just, he knows, you know, he knows what it takes, like. And then just in the dressing room, like, you know, he has that command, that presence that he's able to put it on you when the team is struggling, like, you know. And then be able to go out and do the business, like, you know. And people obviously would say, oh yeah, says what he do, or he hasn't done that in the game and all that, but he scores a goal then, you know. And it's the most important, important thing, like, you know. That's what it is. Like, people say, oh yeah, Jay's all he does is score a goal, like, and you're like, well, listen, it's the hardest thing in the game, like, you know. So that's all he needs to do.
I know exactly what I mean, yeah. And also, I think, you know, it's nice because actually the way you mentioned, what you said about him, about, you know, making sure everyone's included and stuff, it's almost like Mark has taken on a lot of, like, those characteristics in terms of, you know, by, you know, I mean, he says it himself, you know, when the foreign lads come in or whatever, we make sure they got a number and they're on the WhatsApp group and things like that. And that's something that Kevin would have done. That's probably something that Lucas Neal would have done before him. And, you know, so he's had all these, so, you know, that's why Mark, I think, is such a good captain, because he's had all these sort of influences. And obviously Kevin now in the first teams, you know, coaching staff, making a massive difference, a huge difference to our club. You know, even so much so that, you know, he does, like, you know, obviously he used to just stand on the goalkeeper's toes, didn't he, at the corners? That's all what he used to do. And Antonio does it now. And Antonio's, you know, slightly more bulkier than Kev. So, you know, I love the influences. You can see all the influences. We're becoming a nastier team now. And I think which is what we need to be. And I think part of the reason was Kevin and obviously Stuart Pearce as well. But their top man, Kevin, is. And it's great because obviously I'm still at the stadium and so, you know, you open the door and all you can hear is Kevin and Stuart and they're just shouting. It's just so noisy. Like our bench is so noisy. It's lovely to hear them just get rollicking him. But anyway, okay, up front. First forward then, Joey.
Well, I'm just going to play this fella as a 10 really now. So since my formation's changed, so it's going to be Dimmy. And I obviously didn't play a lot with this guy, like, you know, but just a couple of games, like, but yeah, like that season, that 4th season he was there, like, I suppose it was probably one of the best individual seasons that I've seen from a player, like, you know, that I would have been in the team. You know, it was just an incredible level of and I mean, I'm going back to lads that like got Bolton. You know, we had JJ Kocha, Nicholas Anelka, these types of guys that were super players as well. You know, like, but like that's for that season, that 4th season he was there, was just the level that he was playing at was just off the charts, really. You know, and yeah, just a superb player. And you're talking about players, like actually a player that came into the football club, you know, would have been. I know they bought him for a few quid and all that, but I don't think there was that much known about him or that much talk or hype about him. No. But yeah, I mean that the level that he played on, yeah, was incredible, really.
Yeah, and obviously being part of that last season at the Bowling, I mean, you know, obviously the history and stuff like that. You know, it would have been for yourself as well. I know, obviously, you didn't play as many league games as you'd like to, but you still, you know, still came on the pitch more. You know, you still turned up in the last game. It must have been a special thing to have been involved in that last season at an iconic stadium like the Bowling. And obviously playing part of that, you know, in the FA Cup and stuff like that. For yourself, it must have been, you know, proud moment to know you were one of the last players to have played at this amazing stadium.
I used to love playing the stadium when I was down at Bolton and all that, you know, because just how the stadium was and the fans and all that, and it was a completely different soil. Obviously, I'm playing against the fans and whatever then, but like it was just always a great place. It was just one of them old football grounds, you know, that you just have that romantic look, you know. It's just that side of it where you just you see videos, you see the black and white videos. It's one of them grounds, you know, and yeah, it was great. It was great. Listen, he lit it up, didn't he? So it was a fitting end, really.
Yeah, special player. And I imagine in training he was just doing stupid stuff as well. Incredibly.
Yeah, well, I actually, as you said, I done a lot more training sessions than I did games that year. So that was my. I actually was told by obviously he was the golden boy, like, you know. So when I was going in against him in training and all that, and I'd be putting a few tackles on him and stuff like that, you know. They'd be all the Slaven Bilic and all the Croatians wouldn't be happy, you know. They'd be shouting out to tell me to calm down. Don't bleed ninja him. We won't win on Saturday. Don't worry about you. Don't worry about you. You're going to the stand.
Yeah, just don't crock him. Fucked if he gets injured. Yeah, and he did. I think, you know, obviously he did get injured, didn't he? And obviously now, as you said, you know, this season Champions League sort of has somewhat disappeared now. Same as that season. You know, we were in the shout for Champions League until Dimmy got injured, and then we sort of like didn't. You know, it's funny how everything sort of comes around in circles.
And the same on Dimmy, like Manu as well, like, you know.
Yeah.
Super player came in that year. Obviously, like the two of them would just change the team, really. Like changed the whole dynamics of the team. I think the basis of the team was there from Sam, like, and really good like pros and solid Premier League players and all that. But to be fair to Slaven Bilic, like them two signings, especially them two, like just really, really took her on, like, you know, and two elite players, and Manu as well, like, you know, a serious player, like, you know.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and I think they complemented each other very well, and I think that's where I think Manu has been a little bit, you know, since he's got injured, he was a bit sort of lost because he didn't have a partner in crime. You know, arguably his best time he played for West Ham was when he was with a Payet, you know, someone he could bounce off. And obviously he came back, Payet, when he got injured, came back, Payet had gone. So he was like the main man. And I think he struggled with that a little bit. He's since obviously got injured again a few times. And now he came back game 4 last, and he played more of a deep lying midfield role, and it suited him to the ground. So, you know, I think we've found his new position, so which is great, because we need lots of cover. Hopefully for next season, with our Europa League campaign, we need all the bodies we can.
Definitely,
indeed. Right, okay, so we'll put Payet in. We've got one more spot, Joey. One more spot.
So these are two real main centre forwards that we played with. It was obviously Coley and AC.
Yeah.
So look, it was close. Like Carlton was unplayable as well for that. A lot of the time, like that championship 4th year in the Premier, like, you know, and a real like monster, like, you know, and that like serious player, like, you know, and on his day unplayable, like. But I was just gonna go with Andy, like, again, like probably injuries curtailed how prolific and how good he is, and how good a player he would have been for the football club. But at times, like, you know, you could see it on the pitch, you know, and I never played with a player like it, like where, I know you mean like international football, like, you know, like Damien Duff and stuff like that, and like, as I said earlier on, Nicholas Anelka, like players like that, whereas like, sometimes you could see centre halves and defenders against Andy, they just literally jacked it, like, you know, they thrown in the towel against him, like he was just such a nightmare to play against. They were just 20 minutes in, you know, and they've tapped out, like, you know, they want the end. They're broken men, like, you know, and that's what he brought to the table, like, you know, in games, like, and look, it was just a pity, I suppose, for him and for the club that there wasn't that much more to them, but on his day, like, you know, as you said, like, unplayable player.
You're right. At his day, you know, even when he's not playing, even when he comes on, he commands two defenders. And I think, and I love players who command two defenders because it means an overlap somewhere, isn't there? And as you said, when he had the bit between his teeth, you know, and you saw what he could do, you know, particularly when he moved to London Stadium, he scored, you know, some incredible goals against Palace and whatnot. But yeah, I think he was a great player. Ironically,
his mentality though as well was just great. Like, you know, he didn't believe like the bullshit or the hype about players, you know, really, like, you know, and playing against teams and players, and I think it was just really refreshing, like, to see that, you know. I think especially when you see young players as well, like, coming in, you know, at sort of times, you sort of so much now on the like phones and about people's and building up players that this, that and the other, like, you know, and sometimes you can build them up to be incredible, like, you know, when they're playing for this club and that club. Now, I guess Andy had the confidence that at the time he made a huge transfer from Newcastle to Liverpool, so he had his own confidence, but it was more that he didn't care about them, you know, he didn't care about who he was playing against. It was like, right, listen, he had just had a mentality that I love, you know what I mean, and something similar to what I would have tried to have, like, would have been, yeah, right, let's have it.
Yeah,
no, and
totally, man.
That was him, like, you know, it was just like, right, let's have it.
But particularly because that's his game. His game was bullying, you know. His game was, so he had to be that way, you know. It's a bit like Antonio is now, you know. Antonio, when he's on it, he's like, right, I don't give a shit who I'm up against. You know,
yeah, there's a player as well. Like, I didn't mention, like, again, yeah, you know, a super player, like, and great to see how he turned it around, like, you know, because obviously I was there at the start when, again, Slaven Bilic and stuff like that, like, you know, at the start they weren't having a bar of him, like, you know, and then to see where he's at now, it's brilliant, you know. It's just great to see, like, you know.
It's all about confidence with some players, isn't it? I think with Antonio, it's about, I mean, you know, I think some people have just naturally got confidence, like Andy, as you said, he always had this mentality that he's the main man, he's going to bully those defenders, doesn't care who he's up against. Very similar to other people we've interviewed, like people like Johnny Artson, who's the same. He was like, I don't give a shit if I was against Sol Campbell, he's going in the back of that net and I'm going to score. And that's what, and I think, and again, that's why I think Andy, despite the fact he got injured, he was injured quite a lot, when he came in, West Ham fans really took to him because he had that bull in a china shop, you know, which West Ham fans love. You know, they love a guy who puts it about, innit? And so, but he had that little bit about him in it as well. As you said, he scored some great goals. But I know the formation isn't what you wanted, Joey, but it's still a good team, man. Still a good team.
Yeah.
Man.
No, yeah, I'd be happy with that. Like, don't get me wrong, as you said, I'll be happy to go to war with that, you know. Let's have it.
I'll go, exactly. There's no worries. We'd be no problem with Champions League football with that 11, I tell you, man. Oh, brilliant. Joe, man, it's been great. Absolutely great. Thank you so much for your time, man. I've really appreciated it.
No,
I'm glad, man. Obviously, thanks everyone for watching as well. And for myself and for Joey, take care. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Get those jabs when you get your jab. What's the jab situation like in Ireland at the moment?
Yeah, so we're just moving through them, but a lot slower than the UK. So I suppose it's one thing that we're looking at and thinking, geez, we wish we had the NHS flying it out now. You're like, you know, it's a lot slower. Like, but listen, hopefully everyone's over the worst of it and everyone's we can get back over watching a few games next season.
Hopefully so, man. Hopefully so. We'd love to see you back at the stadium with all the fans. Hopefully, God. Anyway, take care. Come on, you Irons.
Thanks very much.
We'll see you again. Cheers, Joey. Take care.
Come on, you Irons.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye.
See ya.
Cheers, bud.